You're driving down a road, you're not buying anything. You're not walking into a store, not ordering food, you're just trying to get somewhere. And then pay a few dollars gone from your bank account. Maybe you barely notice, maybe you grumble about it, maybe you take the long way around just to avoid it, but someone somewhere just made money because you drove over a piece of asphalt. And here's the strange part. That road might have been built decades ago. The cars change. The businesses around it come and go. Buildings get knocked down and rebuilt, but the road keeps collecting over and over and over again. That's the business model behind toll roads, and it raises a very simple question. What would happen if you own the road? Because owning a toll road is not like owning a normal business. You don't have to convince every customer to buy something. You don't need to manufacture thousands of products or constantly invent new services. In many cases, you simply own access to something people need. And every time they use it, the meter starts running. This is one of the most expensive, most complicated, and most surprisingly profitable infrastructure businesses in the world. But the real money isn't made collecting coins at a booth. The real money is made by controlling the route, the land, the traffic, the contracts, and the billions of journeys happening on top of it. So today, we're breaking down the economics of owning a toll road. Most businesses sell a product. A supermarket sells food. A hotel sells rooms. An airline sells transportation. But a toll road sells something slightly different. It sells access. You're not really paying for the concrete, you're paying for the ability to get from one place to another, and that distinction matters, because the value of a toll road depends on one thing above almost everything else: how badly do people need it? Imagine two roads. The first one sits in the middle of nowhere. It's perfectly built, smooth asphalt, wide lanes, modern signs. But almost nobody uses it. The second one sits between a major city and a busy airport. Thousands of commuters every morning, trucks moving goods, families traveling, businesses depending on it. Both roads cost about the same to maintain, but the second one is worth dramatically more. Why? Because the road isn't really the asset. The traffic is the asset. Every car is a potential payment, every truck is a potential payment, and every day that traffic keeps flowing, the revenue keeps flowing with it. That's what makes toll roads so interesting. A normal business has to chase its customers. A toll road just sits there and the customers come to it. Now, if there's a free road right next door, why would anyone pay? This is where the business model gets more complicated. People don't pay because they enjoy paying. They pay because the toll road offers something they value. Maybe it's faster. Maybe it dodges the traffic, maybe it's safer, maybe it connects two places that would otherwise take far longer to reach, or maybe there's simply no practical alternative. And this is where location becomes everything. Say your daily commute takes an hour. The toll road cuts it down to 20 minutes. Now you've got a choice: keep your money and lose 40 minutes every single day, or pay the toll and buy that time back. For most people, the decision isn't really about the road, it's about the value of their time. The toll road is selling convenience, speed, predictability, and sometimes it's selling the chance to avoid a problem that would have cost you even more. That's why a road can charge money, even when people technically have other options. The product isn't asphalt, the product is a better journey. Now comes the part that makes toll roads hard to build. The road itself is expensive, but the concrete and asphalt are only part of it. Before construction even starts, someone has to buy the land. Then come the environmental studies. The engineering, the design, the permits, legal battles, utility relocation, bridges, tunnels, interchanges, drainage, lighting, safety systems, and sometimes years of construction. A simple road is expensive. A major highway is an enormous project. A road through a city needs bridges and tunnels. A road through mountains needs serious engineering. And a road across water, that's a whole different level. And all of that money gets spent before the road collects a single toll, which creates a problem. Build a restaurant and you can start serving customers pretty quickly. Build a toll road, and you might wait years, even decades, before the investment earns a cent. So how do you pay for it? Usually you borrow, and this is where toll roads stop looking like roads and start looking like giant financial machines. Imagine you want to build a massive toll road. The total cost is enormous and you don't have that kind of money, so you borrow it. Now the project carries a huge debt. Every month money has to go somewhere: interest payments, maintenance, staff, technology, insurance, operations, and eventually paying back the original loan. But the road is also collecting. Every car pays a small amount. One payment, not impressive, but the road doesn't need one payment. It needs thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of journeys. This business runs on volume. One driver paying $5, nobody cares, but 100,000 vehicles a day. The math changes fast. $5 times 100,000 vehicles is $500,000 in gross revenue in one day. Now stretch that across an entire year and the number gets enormous. Of course, the road doesn't keep all of it. There are expenses, but that's the basic idea. A small payment multiplied by massive traffic. becomes a very large business. If you were sizing up a toll road as an investment, your first question wouldn't be how much did it cost to build? It would be how many vehicles are using it. Traffic is the heartbeat of this business. More vehicles generally means more revenue, but not all traffic is equal. A road might see thousands of cars a day, but if the toll is tiny, the revenue stays limited. Another road might see fewer cars and charge far more. So the real calculation has several moving parts. How many vehicles use the road? How much does each one pay? How often do they come back? What does it cost to operate? And how much debt is sitting on the books? The whole business is one giant equation. Traffic goes in one side, money comes out the other, but equations can change. Fuel prices rise, the economy slows down, people start working from home, a new road opens, public transport improves, and suddenly the traffic patterns shift. That's one of the biggest risks of owning a toll road. You're not just owning infrastructure, you're betting on human movement. Now here's a question: if toll roads can generate this much money, why would a government ever hand one to a private company? A few reasons. Infrastructure takes massive amounts of money, and governments don't always want to pay it all up front. So a private company helps finance the project. It builds or operates the road, and in exchange, it gets the right to collect revenue for a set period of time. This is usually structured as a concession. The company might run the road for decades, collecting tolls the whole time and taking on some of the financial risk. And when the agreement ends, the road often goes back to the government. It's an interesting trade. The government gets infrastructure without paying the full cost up front. The company gets a long-term revenue stream, and the public gets a road. At least that's how it's supposed to work, because these deals can get incredibly complicated. The contract might run for decades, and nobody knows what the world looks like 30 years from now, and this is one of the most important parts of the entire business. The physical road is valuable, but the legal right to collect tolls can be worth even more. Picture two identical roads, same length, same traffic, same toll prices, but one company can collect revenue for 5 years and the other for 50. The second road is obviously worth far more. The road is made of concrete. But the contract creates the business. That's why investors obsess over the details. How long does the concession last? Can toll prices go up? Who pays for maintenance? What happens if traffic drops? What if a competing road gets built? And who keeps the infrastructure when it's all over? A toll road isn't just an object. It's a long-term agreement wrapped around an object. And sometimes the agreement is the most valuable part. Now imagine you're driving during rush hour. Traffic's terrible, thousands of people trying to get to work. Right at that moment, the road is extremely valuable, but at 3 in the morning, same road, almost nobody on it, and that creates an opportunity. What if the price changed with demand? That's the logic behind dynamic tolling. When it's busy, the price goes up. When it's quiet, the price comes down. The road is using price to manage its own demand. Too many people want in, the price rises. Demand falls, the price follows. It's the same playbook as airline tickets, hotel rooms, ride-hailing, and concert tickets. Except instead of selling seats on a plane, the road is selling space on a transportation network. The goal is to squeeze maximum value out of limited capacity, because a road can only handle so many cars before it jams. And congestion destroys the product. Think about it. The whole reason people pay is to save time. If the toll road gets too crowded, the value of paying disappears, so the operator walks a tightrope. More traffic means more revenue. But too much traffic makes the road worthless. That's the strange economics of a toll road. The best road isn't the one with the most cars, it's the one where people are willing to keep paying. When most people think about toll roads, they think about the toll. But the toll isn't the only money. There are service areas, rest stops, fuel stations, restaurants, advertising, lease space, telecom infrastructure, all kinds of commercial opportunity. Because a major corridor is valuable for one reason: millions of people pass through it. And wherever people move, businesses want access. That service station beside the highway isn't just renting land, it's renting access to traffic. The billboard next to it is doing the same thing, so is the restaurant at the rest stop. The road creates the audience. Everyone else pays to reach it. So the owner of the road isn't just holding asphalt. They might control an entire ecosystem of commercial real estate. The road becomes a platform, vehicles enter, people travel, businesses appear along the route, and multiple companies make money from the same river of traffic. That's why infrastructure is so powerful. One asset can generate several businesses around it. Of course, owning a toll road is not passive income. Roads wear out, vehicles are heavy, weather is brutal, bridges need inspections, tunnels need ventilation, surfaces crack, signs fade, lights burn, electricity, technology goes stale, and the entire system has to keep running. Because a toll road can't just close for a few months while the owner figures things out. The customers need it every single day. So the operator is constantly spending money just to keep the asset alive. That's why infrastructure is so capital intensive. The revenue can be enormous, but so are the expenses, and skipping maintenance, that just builds a bigger problem. Small cracks become major repairs. Old technology becomes a security risk. A neglected bridge becomes dangerous, and a road that stops working stops earning. So the owner is forever balancing two priorities: keep the road running and keep the cost under control. That's the real business. The old toll booth was simple. A car pulls up, the driver stops, money changes hands, the barrier lifts. But modern toll roads work very differently. Electronic systems identify vehicles. Payments happen automatically. Cameras read license plates, sensors track traffic, and software manages the entire network. The road is becoming automated, and that changes a lot. Vehicles move faster, physical booths disappear, collection gets cheaper, and the traffic data gets valuable. Because now the road isn't just infrastructure. It's a technology platform. Every vehicle creates data. Every journey creates information. Where do people get on? Where do they get off? When is traffic heaviest? Which routes are growing? The better the operator understands the traffic, the better it can run the asset. And now we can see why investors are drawn to toll roads. A toll road has something most businesses can only dream of: a long-term revenue stream tied to an essential asset. People stop buying certain products. Companies go out of business. Trends die, but people still need to move. Trucks still haul goods. Cities still need transportation. Now that doesn't make every toll road a guaranteed win. It's not, but the underlying asset can be extremely important. And investors love businesses that are hard to copy. Because think about competing with a toll road. You can't just open one overnight. You need land, approvals, engineering, construction, money, and years of development. That's a serious barrier to entry. The existing road wins simply because it already exists. It's one of the big reasons infrastructure gets so valuable. The competition can't easily clone it. Now, for the uncomfortable part, a toll road can look like an unstoppable money machine until the traffic changes. A new free highway opens nearby. A major employer leaves town. People start working from home. A railway gets popular. Fuel prices spike. The local economy slides into recession. Suddenly, fewer cars, and every vehicle that disappears is revenue that disappears with it. The road still exists. The maintenance bills still exist. The debt still exists. But the customers are gone. That's the danger of infrastructure. It's brutally hard to build, but demand can still walk away. A road that was once essential can quietly become optional, and once billions are sunk into it, there's not much you can do with the physical asset. You can't move a toll road to a better location. You can't turn it into something else. The road is married to its geography. That's its greatest strength. And its greatest weakness. Because when you buy a toll road, you're not buying today's traffic. You're buying a prediction of tomorrow's. Will this city grow? Will more people move here? Will the businesses nearby survive? Will people keep driving? Will this road stay faster than the alternatives? Will the government allow toll prices to rise? Will technology change how people travel? Those questions decide whether the asset becomes incredibly valuable or becomes an expensive stretch of concrete with fading revenue. That's why toll road investors spend so much time studying population growth, economic activity, urban development, traffic patterns, and government policy. The road is fixed, but the world around it never stops moving. There's one idea that explains why toll roads can be so valuable. It's this: you can sell access to the same asset again and again and again. A manufacturer sells a product, and once it's sold, the transaction is over. A toll road is different. The same stretch of road serves one car in the morning, another car 5 minutes later, a truck after that, and 1,000 more vehicles before the day ends. The asset stays the same. The revenue keeps repeating. That's the power of infrastructure. The owner isn't building a new road every time someone pays. They're monetizing access to the road that already exists. Expensive to build, absolutely brutal, but once it's there, it can keep serving customers for decades. Which brings us back to the original question: who owns a toll road? And the answer is complicated. The government might own the land. A private company might have built the road. Another company might operate it. Banks finance the project. Investors own the company. And a long-term contract decides who gets the money. So the same road can have several owners in several different ways. The government owns the physical infrastructure. The company owns the right to operate it. Investors own the business collecting the cash. The banks hold claims on the revenue, and the public is the customer paying for access. The road is visible, the ownership is hidden, and that is where the real business happens. On the surface, a toll road looks simple. Cars drive, drivers pay, the money goes somewhere. But underneath that little transaction is an enormous financial machine. Land, construction, debt, contracts, traffic, technology, maintenance, pricing, investors, government policy, and millions of individual journeys. Each car is a tiny transaction. The road connects millions of them together. That's the secret. The toll is small. The system is massive. And the system is designed to keep generating revenue from the same infrastructure over and over again. The most valuable part isn't the booth. It isn't the ticket, it isn't even the asphalt. The most valuable thing is controlling access to a route that people actually need, because if the route matters enough, people will keep paying to use it. So the next time you roll through a toll, look at what's actually happening. You're not paying for a few miles of pavement, you're entering a business. A business that may have taken billions of dollars to create, financed through debt, protected by long-term contracts, powered by traffic, maintained through constant investment, and designed to collect small payments from enormous numbers of people. The road looks permanent. The toll looks insignificant, but behind that small payment is an entire infrastructure business, and the people who own the right piece of road keep getting paid every time the world moves. That's the economics of owning a toll road. One of the clearest examples of how the most ordinary infrastructure around us can become a very extraordinary business. This is curbside economics, the businesses hiding in plain sight.